Hey, welcome back to the channel, guys. Now, before I go any further, let me just go out on a limb and say thank you guys so much for all the love and support you've been showing on these past few videos, guys. I was not expecting this type of traction to come, and the fact that you guys are actually putting in the time to watch these videos is making me feel so good. It really means a lot, and I hope that we can keep this going further so that we can help grow the channel a bit, get more content put out there for you guys. So, as always, thank you again. Now, let's get into this video. So in today's video of Sly Cooper, we're going to be talking about some of Sly Cooper's best soundtracks. Now, the soundtracks easily makes this game. The soundtracks to me is what makes Sly Cooper Sly Cooper. Without the soundtrack, I truly think Sly Cooper becomes another generic character in a video game series. These soundtracks are some of the best music that I've ever heard in my entire life. And it really sets the atmosphere of each environment, and it gives each character a great welcome and own original taste and personal taste to them too. As I stated before, we're going to do a top 15 video mainly because I don't really have a least favorite soundtrack in Sly Cooper. I just find certain ones better or worse than the other ones, but there's not a single one that I can say I truly hate. Just, again, less than stellar or pretty dull ones, but nothing I truly hate. So, top 15 plus the honorable mentions list too. As long as you guys are ready, I say let's get into this video. Number 15. Sly 1 credits from Sly 1. The credits to this is absolutely incredible. I love the rock and jazzy feel that they have going for it. The blend works together just absolutely great. Azif Haki, I think I said his name right, but if I didn't, someone correct me in the comment section. But yeah, Azif Haki did a great job scoring this game all those years ago. And this credit scene is a prime example of that. Plus, the fact that we listened to this right after we defeat Clockwork in the first game makes it all the more memorable and satisfying to hear, in my opinion. And I also wanted to point out, but this is just how I feel, I find this theme very underrated by a lot of Sly fans because I don't see a lot of people talk about it like that, or it may just be I'm overlooking it, but I find this theme very, very incredible and amazing. Even though the first game's soundtracks I think are not as good as the later soundtracks in the series, there was still a couple of moments in here that it was just incredible to listen to. Just that the high highs of the soundtracks in this game still can match pace for some of the best soundtracks in the other games too. But it's not the most memorable soundtrack in my opinion, which is why it's at number 15 on this list, but it's still a really, really good soundtrack to listen to. Plus, it's a bit too short for my liking. I would have loved a longer version of this, but it's okay. We got what we got. Number 14. A Stealthy Approach from Sly 1. We get this beautiful sound piece in the first area of the first Sly Cooper game. I swear, every time I listen to this, it always gives me goosebumps because it knows that we're in an area that we're not familiar with, but we still have to take course of action if we want to get our family book back. The sounds in this sound piece are very unique. You got the rain in the background, you got what sounds like a xylophone piano playing too, and then you got this weird synth or guitar riff that just echoes so beautifully, and I don't know how to describe it, but if you're listening to it right now as we speak, you can see what I'm talking about. Overall, this just sounds to me like what a arcade Sly Cooper game would be like, where you have this sound piece that just flows well with the arcade game that we're playing. Even though Sly is obviously a platformer, this is the type of music that I could hear in an arcade game for Sly if there was ever one out there. So overall, this is another great piece in my opinion, and one that I think does get underrated a lot because it was in the first game, but I think it's one of the more memorable ones in the game, considering that, this is literally shoved in our face in the very first world of Sly, so it should be memorable for a lot of fans. Number 13. Venice Espionage from Sly 3. This one's a classic for me, mainly because with Venice Espionage, it's basically the main theme to Venice, but just Sly-fied in a way. The first glimpse we get of this beautiful piece comes in the mission Into the Depths during the Venice, Italy location. It's ironic, and that's one of the mission names in Sly 1. But yeah, so yeah, we get this in the mission Into the Depths, and it absolutely works because first off, given that we're on a little spine job trying to figure out what Octavio's up to, the sound piece to this really fits the theme perfectly. You got what sounds to me like violins strumming just to create the mood and the setting perfectly, and then you got the classic piano, that slide piano, and then the hints of the woodwind playing, which I believe is a flute from the sound of it, it spices up the espionage feeling just a bit, and it's like PB&J, all of those instruments combined together. And plus, with the soundtrack to this mission and the mission afterwards, which is guard duty, all I can think about is just Carnival and how much fun that probably is during Venice. Number 12. Dominate the dance floor / tango with Carmelita from Sly 2. Let me just go on a limb and say that Indian-themed ballrooms or Indian-themed dances I'm an absolute sucker for whatever reason. I don't know. I just love the culture that the Indian vibe has when it comes to ballrooms and dances or proms. But then when you add a little bit of Sly Cooper to that mix too, oh man, it's such a beautiful combination to have. Now, I don't know if anybody knew this beforehand, but I assume that most people did, but I'm still going to talk about it anyway. But Dominate the Dance Floor and Tango with Carmelita, they're two completely different songs, and it took me a while to realize this until literally like months ago. But yeah, they're two completely different songs. So the difference is, with the Dominate the Dance Floor, when we're dancing with Neela, and Neela's is much more spiced up. Meaning it's more lively, it's more, it's more out there. And I think the reason they did that is because they were trying to draw the attention of Carmelita by dancing with Neela. As to where with Tango with Carmelita, the objective there is to make sure that, we're distracting everyone away from Murray while he goes and gets the clockwork parts. See what I mean by the charm that these video games have? It's like little things like that you realize years later down the line that just makes you appreciate the games even more. Cause I seriously never thought about that until literally months ago when I replayed the missions. And this is one of the main reasons why I still feel like to this day that Sly 2 is a top 5 PlayStation game of all time. Just because of those little subtleties that we see in the game. Between the soundtrack, the way the game progresses, how the story's told, but I'm not going to digress too far away from the topic. The soundtrack here for both these songs is incredible, but I had to be sure that people knew the difference between the two. Number 11. Follow Neela from Sly 2. This one's very interesting to me because Neela, even though she betrayed us, her theme still rings in my head every single time. Anytime I hear the name Neela, her personal theme song, it just sticks with me every single time I think about it. It's just almost insane that this person that we thought was, on our side just betrayed us like that. And I think the theme does a great job at doing that too, in which the theme is very mysterious. You don't know what its true motives is. That's why I feel like the creators did a great job in making Neela this mysterious figure, because no one really knew who she was or what her true motives were. Even when Interpol first met Neela, according to the booklet in Sly 2 anyway. But that was before then, and even now. Just listening to that theme, every time I hear it, I'm just like, why did Neela do what she did? And we never got a proper motive behind it. Even though she's still easily a top 3 favorite character of mine in the Sly universe. I just don't know what to make of her. And I think this theme overall does a great job at showcasing that. Because, you got the rapid speed, but it also sounds kind of relaxed and laid back. So, the sounds, with the violins and then the flute playing, it's all it all blends so well together that it almost becomes this like, it almost becomes, I don't know what the word is, if I could think of it. I'll probably just type it in the, I'll probably type it in the comment section somewhere. But yeah, she's that basically. So this theme overall I love because it reminds me of Neela every single time I listen to it, and that's the best thing about soundtracks, when they remind you of a specific character. Number 10. Ancestors Gauntlet from Sly 3. Now, I want all my Sly fans out there to tell me if there's a theme that's better or more satisfying than this one, because if there is, I can't see it or find it. Because to me, Ancestors Gauntlet theme sounds like the most satisfactory theme ever. The fact that after all we've been through, between getting the book back, finally ridding the family curse, and finally collecting all the money and treasure that our family left us over the years, this theme does a great job at just making you feel very accomplished and being like, finally, this is all mine. All the hard work has finally paid off, and we got the biggest payday possible. That's what I get when I listen to this theme, every time I hear it. Once again, with the horns and the woodwinds being played throughout this, and then that little slide piano that we got going for it too, the combination works great. And I love the fact that they amp this up to be such a happy sounding piece, because we know it was a really hard journey. If we've been with Sly since the beginning until now, then most Sly fans should know how hard this journey was for Sly. But the one thing I also love about this theme is that it doesn't sound completely happy. There's still a bit of like darkness in it, as you can hear, because we know the journey was hard. The journey was very hard, and you can still hear it. And like the way the music just subtly like lowers in volume a bit to how it just blasts again at a certain part. There's bits of melancholy going on throughout it too, that we can hear it. And then it's followed by this feeling of euphoria, and it all blends so perfectly. And again, it's satisfactory it's satisfactory to hear when you finally reach inside the Gauntlet. And the developers did a great job of making this sound the way it did. Number 9. Sly 4's main theme from Sly 4. Even though this is the only Sly 4 theme on this entire list, I still think that the main theme of Sly 4 hits very hard. It slaps every time I listen to it. Especially the part where the guitar just comes in after the first couple of seconds of the song. It's that feeling of, yes, we're finally back after all these years with Sly. That's what I get with this theme. It's like, where he's back, we're ready to rock and roll, and let's do this. And also, I don't know if that's a synth or like a modified piano that's playing, but it works perfectly well with the time travel theme, and like how it just shifts from like do 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 do, like it just like it. Even though, despite my problems with Sly 4, this is one of the things that I absolutely love about Sly 4, is that the soundtrack in general just made me hyped to play Sly once again after an 8-year hiatus. But it's also a bittersweet soundtrack, because this is literally the last time we heard from Sly Cooper in terms of video games. Because with the movie being cancelled, and then the TV show still stuck in limbo, and now Sucker Punch confirming that they're not working on a new game, it just seems like the franchise just kind of got deaded at this point. But not to stray too far off topic, the theme here is just absolutely great and incredible to me every time I listen to it. Number 8. Back Alley Heist from Sly 1. If you guys watch my best missions video, you guys know how much I love this theme. Like, this theme is so incredible. The jazzy rap feel that's going for it with, the desert area in Mesa City. And, it's just, I love this theme so much. Every time I listen to it, I just get so hyped. I get so hyped to want to just like, do some shit. anytime I listen to this theme. It's just, you guys, I mean, it's hard to describe. I don't know how to describe it. I just love this theme so much, guys. You know that. Like, the horns and the drums are just, they're a beautiful combination. Along with that jazzy piano that they got going for it too, to match with the horns and drums, it's a cherry on top every time. Like, there's absolutely no way that this soundtrack should slap as hard as it does, but it still does. In the first game of all games too. And once again, Asif Haki's music in the first Sly Cooper game is some of the best music you'll ever hear in a video game, period, in my eyes and in my opinion. Number 7. Sly 3's main/credit theme from Sly 3. While this theme to me isn't as good as the other main menu theme that I'm going to talk about later in this list, this theme is still hugely popular and still memorable for a lot of Sly fans, myself included too. The theme here is so, like, it's so uplifting, like, you know, we're about to pull off this crazy job that we didn't think was going to be possible. That's what I get when I listen to this theme with the horns and the piano. And it's just, it's so amazing. That's all I can say. That's what I can really say about this. It's just an amazing theme that gets you ready and hyped to go for this story and adventure that we're about to do. I just wish that there was like 2 or 3 different versions of this theme compared to another theme that I'll talk about on this list, but I still think this theme is absolutely great. I love the regular theme, but I think my favorite part is the credit version of this theme song, in which near the end we start to get a bit of, you know, of everybody else's theme song joined together with like Dimitri and then Panda King and then the Guru, and how, like, you know, we see how they're all doing after the heist and everything that they're doing. And then near the very end where we see Sly and Carmelita finally together, and how like that Paris theme starts to slowly creep in just to show these two are in love. But then you realize that Sly is faking his amnesia because he wants to be with Carmelita, and just like it's such a beautiful cherry on top, even though I still think that it's pretty slimy that Carmelita and Sly did what they did to be together. But I'll probably talk about that in another video if you guys want it, that is. So, but to get back on topic here, this theme is great. This theme is absolutely great. Do I think it's better than some of the other themes on this list? Definitely not, but I still like it a lot. And it sounds like a more uplifting theme, which is another reason why I don't rank it too high on the list, because I like the Sly Cooper themes to have a bit of like of a darkness to it, but that's just my personal taste on it. But I still love Sly 3's main theme and credit theme a lot. Number 6. Canada 1's theme from Sly 2. This theme slaps hard, and I mean hard. Like, the guitar that they got going for this is absolutely incredible, and it just makes you feel like you're in the cabin in a ice cold area, just trying to warm up while also trying to complete the mission at hand. In between all the crazy stuff that's happening in Canada 1 with the guards patrolling the area, all the moose heads hanging around, the bears that's in the area, the eagles that's in the area, it's like, what in the world? It's like there's so much happening in the first Canada world and even the second one, but the theme song to the first Canada world is easily the best theme out of the two, because I just love the way this one sounds and how it just sounds so like, you know, that cabin winter feel. Plus, another thing that I want to add to here is that it combines great with another theme that I'll talk about in a second, but it works well with this other theme song that combines all the other ones. But again, I'll talk about that later in this video. But as I stated before, Canada 1's theme is a banger, in my opinion. It's a banger that everyone should listen to, and that I think most Sly fans actually like listening to. Cause man, Oh man, that acoustic guitar though, like, oh my gosh, every time I listen to it, I get goosebumps. Number 5. Cairo Museum theme from Sly 2. This is the intro to one of the greatest and most iconic PlayStation 2 games of all time. Of course, it was always going to be in this top 15 list. So, what makes this theme so iconic? Well, I don't know. The fact that it's in the prologue chapter of Sly 2, and the fact that we listened to this while trying to pull a heist is also, that's what makes it so memorable. And the fact that the music gets so, like it starts off so subtly, we're sneaking into the museum, trying to find the clockwork parts, and then as the heist starts to, ramp up a bit, the music starts to kick in much faster and much more heavier. And the drum starts to go, and it just like do, and it just, it pumps you up and gets you ready for the heist that we're about to pull after the prologue chapter. Like, there's no other way to describe how iconic this whole theme is. And in fact, if any of you guys ever watched my videos, my other videos anyway, you can see that I have this theme as the intro to all my videos because I just love it that much, and I think it suits an intro to Sly perfectly. Like, I can't think of another theme that's more perfect than this when talking about Sly. Number 4. Dimitris Nightclub disco theme from Sly 2 and the music video in Sly 3. What more do I need to say? Like, this theme is an iconic classic in the Sly franchise. Like, I don't feel like I need to go into too much detail about this theme, but I'm gonna anyway. First off, Dimitri is easily one of the best characters in the Sly Cooper franchise, and people who don't like him have no soul whatsoever. One of the things I love about this theme is that it perfectly showcases how Dimitri views himself. Dimitri is so egotistical and full of himself, but he does it in a way that doesn't come off as like over cocky or overconfident, but rather like he's just so delusional, but he still loves himself that much that he's not gonna let anybody or anything tell him otherwise. Another thing about this song is that this song is kind of showcasing, Dimitri's sex appeal to all the other women in the club. So he's like, let me show your bling and let me shine you. Or, how he's like, oh, let's dance. Like, oh my gosh. Like, I can't. Every time I listen to this theme, it puts a smile on my face every time I listen to it. Also, another thing about this theme is that this doesn't sound like Sly Cooper. This sounds like Dimitri. The fact that the developers were able to make a theme for a side character in a game that doesn't sound anything like what the main character's theme is, you did a great job. Probably the best job ever in making the side character probably a bit more loved than the main character, but that could be like a hot take for another day. But as it stands, Dimitri's disco theme will always be a top 5 Sly Cooper theme. I'd even say top 3, but I have to think about it. Number 3. Venice theme from Sly 3. Okay, so what I basically said in the best Sly Cooper world with Venice basically applies here. The music here is absolutely incredible, and it's another prime reason as to why I want to go to Venice one day. Seeing the Venetian music culture being combined with Sly Cooper, I don't know how they did it, but they just blended it so well together, and it's incredible. It's absolutely incredible, and it's amazing. And given that Sly 3 was my very first Sly Cooper game, this music left a huge impact on me and how I saw Sly going forward. Like, this music, like Paris, this music just makes me fall in love every time I listen to it. And the best part about this is that you can use this music for basically a lot of things. And like, I've seen in comment sections somewhere where people use this as like their alarm clock to wake up to in the morning, and I could just totally see that. And that's something I'm definitely gonna do if I ever make it to Venice one day. It's just the thought of just playing that music, waking up to it, It's just like it's giving me such a vibe right now, and I hope that I can make it to Venice one day, guys. So just pray for me and hope that I can make it there. But to get back on topic here, another reason why this soundtrack sticks out to me is because when we have the dialogue when we do the dialogue missions in Venice, it provides some of the most iconic and legendary lines that I've ever heard in a Sly video game. Like, for example, if a guard comes up to you and asks you what's the midnight password, you're gonna give the response of this. And then some of the guards will have some of the most craziest or funniest responses ever, like this. So yeah, Venice's theme brings back a lot of nostalgic memories for me in terms of the soundtrack and how the soundtrack can just like bring back those like missions that I love just like a snap. It's incredible when a video game can do that. Number 2. Sly 2's menu/credit themes from Sly 2. There is so much to unpack for this particular soundtrack alone, and even then I still don't think I would be able to do it justice, but I'm still going to talk about it anyway. The soundtracks in Sly 2 to me is easily the best soundtrack in the entire series, with Sly 3 and Sly 4 coming behind it respectively. I don't know what it is, the Sly 2, for some reason the soundtrack just hits home, and you know what it is? Considering that the soundtrack in the first game was it was good, but it felt like it was missing something that could make the game much better. And Sly 2 made the games much better because of the soundtrack, because anytime you listen to Sly 2 soundtrack, it sounds like Sly Cooper. In fact, it sounds so much like Sly Cooper that you could play this in the first Sly Cooper game and it would still fit the theme perfectly. So, what do I take away from the menu theme and the credit theme for this? Well, there's actually two different menu themes, and then we have the credits. So let's talk about each one and what I find particularly interesting about each one of them. So, the first menu theme in Sly 2 sees that it shows that Cooper confidence, that Cooper, even though they're in a tough situation right now, we're getting the clockwork parts back, that Cooper and the gang still have the situation under control, and they're gonna do everything they can to get the clockwork parts back. But then, something interesting happens. Around episode 6, we get this second theme to the main menu theme of Sly 2. And this theme is much darker. And when I mean by that, it's like it just sounds much more depressing. Like the horns sound much more hopeless. And the whole vibe of it is just like more darker and more morose. It's almost as if to say that the story is about to take a much darker turn that you guys are not going to be ready for. That's what I get for theme 2 in the Sly 2 menu theme compared to theme 1. So, take for example, here's the first theme. Okay, and now compare that to what we have with the second theme. You see what I mean? The difference in the two, it just sounds so different. The second theme sounds much more darker and morose, and if I had to choose between the two, I definitely like theme 2 better than theme 1, just because it's really making us feel like we're heading into uncharted territory. And lastly, we'll talk about the credit scene too. The credits in this I love so much because they combine the themes of all the Sly villains in Sly 2 into one beautiful like collection of songs that like it's like what would happen if you like put them all in a pot and remixed it. It sounds so beautiful together. The way that Paris, Prague, India, and Canada just mesh well together, and how it just ends so beautifully. Like every time I hear the ending to these credits, it just makes me tear up. Especially the part where it tells you to go outside and play at the end of the credits scene. Like it gives me goosebumps, and I cry almost every time I watch it because it's that powerful to me. Okay, guys, so as usual, before we get into the number 1 spot, let's go over a recap, and then we'll talk about some of the honorable mentions that I could have had in this list but didn't. Number 15, Sly 1's credits. Number 14, A Stealthy Approach. Number 13, Venice Espionage. Number 12, Dominate the Dance Floor / Tango with Carmelita. Number 11, Neela's Theme. Number 10, Ancestors Gauntlet. Number 9, Sly 4's main theme. Number 8, Back Alley Heist. Number 7, Sly 3's main theme. Number 6, Canada 1 theme. Number 5, Cairo Museum. Number 4, Dimitris Nightclub. Number 3, Venice's theme. And number 2, Sly 2's menu / credit themes. Lemon Rage from Sly 3. Given that this theme plays during one of the greatest Sly Cooper missions ever, the Australian theme to this is absolutely great to listen to, especially when you're drinking in a quote-unquote lemonade bar. Holland theme from Sly 3. The horns to this just makes this an incredible theme to listen to, and it suits Holland perfectly. China's theme from Sly 3. Another great theme that incorporates the Chinese culture into it, and this is the one thing that I love about Sly, is that how they're able to blend so many different cultures and themes into Sly so that it becomes its own unique asset, but still feels like Sly Cooper. And plus, with that sound effect that they got going with it sounds like, and with a bit of orchestra, it sounds like, and to help sell that cold China vibe, that early morning cold China vibe. Contessa's Prison from Sly 2. I don't need to go into too much detail about this because I feel like I talked about my fear of spiders enough, but Contessa's Prison is so eerie and so horrifying to listen to that it makes me absolutely nervous to play in to walk through a prison or her castle. But I just find her prison theme much more menacing than her castle theme. Laptop Retrieval from Sly 3. The mixture of the drums and what sounds like a mini harp or mini violin being strummed, that whole laptop retrieval theme works great, especially when you're fighting General Sao in the bamboo fight. That is such an incredible theme and a very memorable one too. A Strange Reunion from Sly 1. This theme is iconic because it perfectly ties into how menacing of a villain Clockwood is, and just how it's just this huge presence and this overbearing robotic figure that is ready to kill you regardless of how you feel. And the music even gives off that robotic kill 'em all robotic kill 'em all hatred that Clockwood has been keeping inside of him his whole entire life up until that point. And lastly, the Wild West theme music from Sly 4. I love the theme to the Wild West, and most Wild West things I actually do find a fondness for if they're done very correctly. Like how, even though I particularly don't care for just plain desert areas like that, if cowboys or gunslingers are involved, then I'm automatically able to forgive anything involving the desert. And this is a rare combination to have, but the guitars and the horns work so well together in this whole entire sound piece that they got going for the Wild West. Okay, now we're down to the #1 greatest Sly Cooper soundtrack. And this soundtrack, I think a lot of people would know, but let's get to it. The #1 greatest Sly Cooper soundtrack, in my opinion, is the Paris theme from Sly 2. I don't think I need to go into too much detail about the Paris theme in Sly 2. First of all, Paris is easily one of the greatest Sly Cooper worlds ever, and the theme we get for it, it's just rich with Sly Cooper lore. And anytime I hear it, it's just I don't know how to say it. It works. And I'm tired of saying it works, but that's just how I feel about a lot of these soundtracks. It works so great for what they're trying to do. and I don't think I've ever, felt that way about a particular track more so than this one, because like I said before, Sly Cooper and Paris go together like peanut butter and jelly. It's a great combination every single time. Now, even though we've had Paris themes in Sly 1 and in Sly 4, the one in Sly 2 to me is easily the best version we get of the Paris theme, and I just don't think that the other two can match par with this one. Except I would give the slight edge to the first game, because the first game, at least, it's more iconic in my opinion, because it set the stage for Sly Cooper going forward. As to where with the fourth one, it's a nice little taste that we get, a nice little jazz taste of Paris that we get, but I still don't think it matches what the first two have to offer, let alone the second game in the series. But yeah, Paris theme in Sly 2, easily the best theme in Sly in my opinion. I know a lot of you guys probably have a different opinion than me, but that's just how I feel about it. But as always, I want to know what you guys think in the comment section down below. And that, my friends, concludes the greatest Sly Cooper soundtracks video. Man, oh man, was this one really hard to try to figure out, because there's so many Sly Cooper themes here, and to try and decipher which ones I liked more than the others was really hard to do. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if there's things you agree with or disagree with, as always, leave a comment down below. If you have any more suggestions on the videos, ideas that you guys may have, leave them in the comment section down below. Thank you to those who suggested this video. I don't have your names right now, but if I do, I'll be sure to put them either in the description or I'll pin the comment on the video itself. But thank you for the suggestion to all those who suggested it to me. And thank you guys as always for watching the videos. They've been really popping lately, and I just hope that we can continue this, get more videos for you guys out there. And who knows, it may not just be solely Sly Cooper stuff. I have a few other plans in the future for you guys too, those that are interested in looking at this stuff anyway. But as always, I'm Lancey, and it's been fun. I'll see you guys in the next video, which would probably be the best Sly Cooper operations, or every Sly Cooper operation ranked. See you guys then.